Technology, South Asia, and Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, Government of Nepal. Warm welcome to all of you from different country we are joining. So thank you all of you for your valuable presence, and we are going to uh, welcome our speakers. And I just wanted to introduce about the ASIS&T. I wanted to read out. It's the Association for Information Science and Technology. It's the only professional association that bridges the gap between information science, practice, and research. For nearly 80 years, ASIS&T has been leading the source for new and better theories, techniques, and technology to improve access to information. SSST supports regional chapters and student chapters throughout the US and abroad, as well as varied special interest groups, diverse professional group organized by specialty and focus such as bioinformatics, information architecture, and visualization, image, and sound. Like the other chapters, the purpose of South Asia chapter is to provide an organization through which member of ASIS&T located within the chapter area may participate in the carry forward the programs and the purposes of ASIS&T. The chapter shall promote the interests of the society and its programs and shall make every reasonable effort to involve students of information science who are located within its boundaries. You can find ASIS&T in our Google and website. Its website is www.asis&t.org/groups/South Asia. Okay, again, I want to wish all of you very good warming, and I just wanted to hand over to our Bhola sir for welcome remarks. Bhola Kumar Shrestha, he is our executive board member, president, and chief librarian of Delhi Raman Regmi Library. He is working in the READ Nepal as a board member, executive board member, and he is one of our best library advocate in our Nepal, and he's our all inspirations for the library field. He has been working for many years in the library field, and he has been working as he has worked as a chief librarian in Nepal National Library, Kesar Library, and he has many experience. He is one of the ex-president of Nepal Library Association, and he has many experience, and we have learned from him. And he is our great motivator in our Nepal. He's such a lovely and kind-hearted person, and his inspiration has been like all the time. He inspired all of our librarians. So I just wanted to welcome and thank you. In this short time, we all of us we have managed to be present in this online meeting. I'm very much thankful to all of you and warmly welcome to you all. Bhola sir, over to you. Thank you.
Okay, Resma. Thank you so much, Resma. Good morning, everyone. Chairperson, Mr. Yadab Chandra Niraula, Under Secretary, Ministry of Education, Science and Technology. Distinguished guest, keynote speaker, Dr. Naresh Agarwal, Professor, Information Science and Technology, Immediate Past President, Association for Information Science and Technology. Distinguished guest and keynote speaker, Dr. Syeda Hina Batool, Postcard Research Fellow, Visiting Professor, University of British Columbia, and Chair ASIS&T, South Asia Chapter. Distinguished guest and keynote speaker, Dr. Ruwan Gamage, Senior Lecturer, Maldives National University, National Institute of Library and Information Science, University of Columbia. Distinguished guest and keynote speaker, Mrs. Gita Thapa, ex-president of Nepal Library Association and executive board member of READ Nepal. And distinguished our guest online participants from different countries. My introduction is already given by the Resma Dongal. So I'm not going to give my introduction. First of all, I would like to welcome all of you to this Library Advocacy South Asia online seminar. This seminar is jointly organized by Ministry of Education, Science and Technology and Association for the Information Science and Technology, ASIS&T. A special thanks go to the young, energetic librarian, MS Resma Dangol, who helped to organize this seminar in Nepal. We librarians are library advocates. We know the value of the library. We support equitable access to the information in the democratic society. So how is the library advocacy is important? The keynote speakers will brief about this. So everyone should listen carefully. Once again, welcome to all of you in Nepal. Thanking you. Thank you so much. Please, Reshma.
Thank you, Bhola sir. Thank you so much. And now I would like to uh, cheer our Mr. Yadab Chandra Niraula, who is very much supporter and always whenever we used to do program last time also he helped a lot. A lot we had done we have done ASST program in Kathmandu Valley Public Library, and that time Indira Dali ma'am and Samira sister and Bhakti madam and Ruwan sir, they were the key speakers. Now I would like to welcome our Yadab Chandra sir. He is the chair of this program, and thank you so much, sir, for hosting this program. He is the Under Secretary of Ministry of Education, Science and Technology. He is our one of the library advocate. He has been working for the library acts, library regulations for the government, and we cordially very much happy and glad that Yadav sir is working as a library advocate for our Nepal, and he has lots of experience. And we are in his coordination only. We are. I just wanted to note that we are celebrating Library Day under Ministry of Education. So thank you so much, Yadav sir. In the short time also, you have we have been grateful from ASIS&T team that we are hosting from Ministry of Education, Science and Technology. Yadav sir, warm welcome, and over to you.
So, should I present my brief note right now or at the end?
You can present now, sir.
Okay. So, just for a few seconds, I am sharing my few slides. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Is it visible? Is it?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We can see it.
Okay. Thank you, Resmaji, and all the ASIS&T team for this program. I have just hosted the meeting only. So, on behalf of the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, welcome to all the participants from the country and abroad. And especially we are working on the library advocacy program, and we are learning, or we are seeking from other countries information or lesson learned too. So just for food for thought, I just want to share some screens on library advocacy activities in Nepal. So as we know that Nepal is since the ancient time, Nepal was a center of education, especially from some Hindu temples and Buddha Gumbas, where the bihars were the place of education. Those holy places were used to collect the manuscripts in various forms, such as Tamrapatra, Bhojapatra, and any other materials. As we know, the formal history of Nepal was begun from the Lichavi dynasty, and people say that our history says that the Lichavi dynasty was called the golden era of Nepal. It is described in some the Chinese visitors and monks who explored Nepal and the government system at that time. Yes, before unification, there were more than 50 small states called Baise and Chovise states. And in that period, Kathmandu state's capital was Bhaktapur, and there was a library having more than 14,000 documents, manuscripts called Sakotha. Sakotha is the same name of the library in Newari language. When the unification was started, and the King Prithvinarayan Saha used to collect all the resources from the states who defeated and during the unification period, and all those books or manuscripts were kept in the Hanumandoka Palace. And 1812, the King Girbandita Birvikram Saha started one library act that is called the Pustak Chitai Tahvil Act to establish the library. This was the first library act, I think. And there were one librarian and 2 assistants also appointed to look after the library. So on that, the special day, as Resma ji has already mentioned, that we are celebrating the National Library Day in August 31st, or sometimes it lies in September 1. This year we are going to celebrate the Library Day in September 1st, according to our calendar. It lies on the community Bhadra 15 in the Bikram Sambat. So we are celebrating on that very occasion, describing many things. And after that, after the establishment of the Pustak Chitai Tahvil, that library was moved from time to time. What we can find that sometimes the same library was in the government national library, and sometimes that was in the academic libraries too. All the books were of the Pustak Chitai Tahvil were transferred to the Darbar library. That was the one of the school library, and again it was changed to the Beer library. That Beer library in 1900. So that was also called the Ghantaghar library too, and many others libraries were established after that. We started to establish after that, and now there are more than 40,000 schools, 1,500 colleges, and 15 universities in the country. And there are more than 300 public and community libraries. The government has announced 1 school, 1 library, and 1 school, 1 laboratory system to promote the library and information from the grassroots levels too. So most of the schools have not the good library. All the schools have the small library, but they are not well managed now. So if we talk about the library history or advocacy history in Nepal, we have to go to around 100 years back. There was one Parva, we used to say a writer has written a book about the Makai ko kheti, called Makai ko kheti, in around 1980s, around 1 year back, the column of corn farming. And some of the points about the insects and insecticides mentioned in the book were misbriefed by some of the favorers of the Rana rulers. As a result, Mr. Adhikari was charged as a royal criticizer and sentenced to 9 years jail. all the books were returned, were collected and destroyed. And this event was called the Makai Ko Kheti or Makai Parva corn festival. The other event the veteran literate Mr. Lakshmi Prasad Devkota and other 46 persons wanted to establish a community library, public library in Kathmandu called Saraswati Sarana. And one of the persons of that library movement go to the Rana rulers, and the rulers banned the library, not only banned the library, but also penalized from 100 rupees each. So that was called the library parva in the history of Nepal. And if we see out of the valley, there was the Dhawal Pustak Padne Dalan, established in 1926 in Palpa. It was renamed as Dhawal Library in 1947, 1984. And if we see the history, there were only 31 libraries before the independence of Nepal, before 1947. And most of them libraries were the private libraries. The Kesar Library, current Kesar Library of Kesar Mahal, Bharati Bhavan Library of Basantapur, and the Kathmandu Singha Library of Thapa were the private libraries. And after the independence, many educational institutions and public libraries were started throughout the country. In that, after that, in 1957, Nepal National Library, Madan Puraskar Library, and the Central Library were established in the same year. So, if we see the library advocacy movement in Nepal, if we see the Constitution of Nepal, the current Constitution of Nepal 2015, Article 51 J4 states that all to establish and promote the community information centers and library for the person mentioned the unit state level and the union levels responsibility, federal levels and the state levels rights and duties. The article 57.1 and 109.1 related 15 number establishment says that establishment of central universities, academies, and the libraries rights, that is the federal rights, and the Schedule 6 at state level universities, libraries, and archives throughout the state will be the responsibility of the state governments. So existing, if we look about the state existing libraries rules and policies, we have Library and Information National Policy 2006. It is in English era, and 2064 BS, and it has more than 8 articles, and each article states about the National Library, public library, role of the National Library, public library, academic library, and how to promote the reading habit promotion like this. And we have Library and Information Management Directives 2069. It also describes about how to establish the public and community library in the local level, where to register the library, and how can we register, and roles and responsibilities of the library management committee, etc. And the government in the initiation of this was the initiation of the was a Nepal Library Association. I think Mr. Bhola Kumar Shrestha has initiated this movement, one village, one library, one school library, one library. So we are also still talking on going on the one village, one library movement. The current government has announced that within the 2 years, all the 753 local levels will be established the public library within 2 years, and all the 60,000 wards will be established within 5 years. This is the reflection of the one village, one library, and one school, one library. We have Education Act and regulations, especially focusing on the school libraries and the higher education libraries, the University Acts and regulations, and the provision in the planning documents also are there in the education, the regulatory functions. So if we see the activities about the library advocacy activities during the academics levels, the TU has started bachelor's degree in 1997, and master degree TU has started in 2002. Nepal Open University also started offering the library science course since its establishment. Now, from this year, Nepal Open University is offering bachelor's degree in library and information science, one of the major subject in the humanity and social science. And then the Curriculum Development Center, Government of Nepal has prepared the course on grade 11 and 12 curriculum on library and information science, and some schools are offering the library and information science course from in grade 11 to 12. And if we are looking, if we see the curriculum, government curriculum, in some chapters there are the use of libraries, in some classes are saying, but not in the detail in the school level curriculum. We cannot find the detailed information in the school level curriculum, though there are some chapters how to use the library, how to go to the library about that. And some resources and the other activities, some persons, especially before 1997, higher education was the people who want to take the higher education, they used to go to the abroad, especially in India. Many our seniors has taken their higher education degree from the India. So, and the role of professional organizations to the library advocacy in Nepal, some are playing active role for the this activity, especially from the very beginning of the establishment of the Nepal Library Association. It is conducting various type of programs on library advocacy, or sometimes it is conducting the role of public library to development, the capacity building of the local levels, and sometimes it is the use of the copyright and many more things like Nepal Community Library Association. This is the another organization who is especially focusing on the community library and the community library establishment and conduct some community libraries under the Room to Read, under the Read Nepal. There are more than 70 libraries in this umbrella, and the NCLA is in close collaboration with the International Federation of Library Associations and Institutions, IFLA. They are conducting the Building Strong Library Associations and some other activities from time to time. Like there is the Alumni Association of the Ruwan University graduates, Ruwan University Library Sciences Alumni Association, and the school library, other organizations also advocating some about this. So involvement, I have already mentioned the government is going to establish more than 760 libraries, 750 in the local level and 70 provincial level. 7 provincial libraries also will be established. Karnali province government and the Kochi province government has already initiated. And Ministry of Education, Science and Technology and its departments are also working on this in relation to advocacy. Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, especially in the coordination of library coordination and documentation section. Library, we have organized the national seminar on public and community libraries in cooperation, in close cooperation with all the library related stakeholders throughout the country, like the Nepal National Library, also conducting some training activities and library policy related activities. Even Nepal National Library has already drafted the Legal Depository Act previously. And the Kesar Library, Delhi Raman Kalyani Regme Memorial Library, and the Tribhuvan University Central Library all are working on this and advocating the roles of the public and community libraries, even and in the academic libraries, especially Tribhuvan University Central Library is focusing on the higher education system to develop the higher education library system on the umbrella of Tribhuvan University. And some public libraries, especially Kathmandu Valley Public Libraries and other libraries in the capital and outside the capital, are organizing the library advocacy programs from time to time, like the Gandaki Province and libraries, Dipsika Community Library, and Pokhara Public Library are some examples in the Gandaki Province, and the Triyuga Community Library, and the Triphala National Library in the Kosik Province, and some Gandaki Karnali Province libraries, and the Kailali Public Library in Sugar Paschim Province, and Kiran Library of the Lumbini Province are leading in this event. The public libraries are advocating to the roles of the communities to enhance the community care. And some non-government sides, I have already mentioned about the Read Nepal. Read Nepal was established in 1991, and it is working on the community library development since that time. And right now, more than 70 libraries it has already successfully established. And the Read replica is not only in Nepal, it is a reflection in the India, Bhutan, and some other African countries too, like Room to Read, also focusing on development of the school and community school libraries. The Asia Foundation, Nepal Library Foundation, and Lions Monoram Foundation, Thang Foundation, Pahar Trust, Health Net Nepal, and many others local level organizations like Library and Information Management Center are organizing the time to time library related training activities in Nepal and advocating the roles and responsibilities of the public and community libraries and the library professionals. So we are focusing, even we have doing more things, but we have lacking of the Legal Depository Act for the Nepal National Library. If we are want to increase the books or all the levels of the, we need the Legal Depository Act for the Nepal National Library. So we are working on that. Like we have not the concrete Public Library Act. We have some public library directives, policies, but we have not the concrete Public Library Act to handle all the public and community libraries. So we are working on that. And we have the financial constraints, and we have some if we see in the local levels, especially in the local community and public libraries, we are facing the trained human resources. So to cope with the trained human resources, especially the Tribhuvan University and Nepal Open University and some other organizations, private organizations like NIMISEC, Nepal Library Associations, are offering short-term and long-term courses during this period. And at the end, I want to draw the attention of our fellow presenters from the other sides, other countries, how the Legal Depository Act is working in their respective countries, and how can we borrow that Legal Depository Act and the Public and Community Library Act. And we are also advocating, especially our
Yeah. Yadab sir, please add this one also.
Yes, sir. Sorry.
Please.
Yeah, could you, which one, sir? Okay.
Library survey.
Okay, yes, I forget yes, last year, Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, and in collaboration with the Room to Read Nepal, and New Era, we have conducted the national survey on public and community libraries. That the survey also strongly advocate the roles of the public libraries and the need of the Public Library Act, and to enhance the capacity of the workers, public library human resources who is working on the public and community libraries, because we have all more or less we have some books, readers, and we have the space, but due to the lack of the proper handling knowledge on library and information management, we are somewhere we are missing the service delivery part. So that survey has strongly recommended the government that we need the Public and Community Library Act, Legal Depository Act, and the government has to fund the public and community libraries. So that reflection has some reflection of that recommendation has already seen, because the government has committed to establish public libraries in all the 753 local governments within 2 years, and all the wards within 5 years. And this year, the government has said that we are going to start digitize all the important resources from the Nepal National Library, Kesar Library, and the Delhi Raman Kalyani Library. And we are also going to establish Nepal National Digital Library within 2 years. So we are in the very beginning steps of that. So with this, I would like to conclude my my presentation.
Yadav sir.
Yes, madam.
Example, NHRC also regularly, I think, conduct some.
Yes, yeah, NHRC also regularly conducting on the how to use the especially electronic resources.
Chandra Kiran's office, Respect also has organized so many organizations, so many program workshop for development of
Resource Center for Primary Healthcare. That is one of the leading non-government organization looking for the primary, especially focusing on the primary healthcare. Is also conducting the various type of advocacy program, especially in the community level, library development, and other side-by-side works, and many other organizations. But I have some made left. Some local level organizations, they are working on the advocacy, and all this as a result, the government has planned some to establish the public and community libraries, and we are getting the Education Act very soon, and in that Education Act, the one provision will be there. I think on to establishment of public library to address the public libraries also. Even though the Education Act will automatically address the school and the community school libraries, though the Education Act will give the way to the public and community libraries too, madam. So there are many things I think I left. So I will, my respected seniors, Indira Madam, Bhola sir, and others, Murari Binod sir, even Rasmaji will, and Lila Madam will add if I have left some points. So with this, I would like to conclude my presentation. I would like to stop my share. And Reshmaji, over to you now.
Thank you so much, Yadav sir, for briefing us from our history, Library of History to the present situation. Now, just I wanted to remind our all the speakers that we have been 20 minutes to all. So I just wanted to hand over to now Bhola sir for welcome to our keynote speaker. Bhola sir, over to you. Thank you.
No, my is already over.
Sir has already finished.
Okay, then I will introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Naresh Agarwal. He's a professor and director, Information Science and Technology concentrations, and he is immediate past president, Association for Information Science and Technology. And he's working in he's a professor and he's working in the School of Library and Information Science, Simon University, Boston. Welcome, Naresh sir. Over to you.
Naresh sir, would you like to share your screen or not?
Yes, I will share my screen. Yes. So
okay, so
yes.
I will. Yeah, I made you in the co-host. Okay, sir. You can share your screen right now, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. I will. So before I do that, Namaste Sabalai. Very good morning, and I'm from. I live in Boston, but currently I'm traveling to my hometown in Gangtok, Sikkim, in India. So I'm very close to Nepal right now. So and it's I think we're just 15 minutes apart right now in terms of time zone. So thank you so much for inviting me. So I'll just share my screen. So as Reshma introduced, so my name is Naresh Agarwal. I was born and brought up in Gangtok, Sikkim. I went to Singapore for higher studies and then lived and now in the US for the last 14 years or so. And I've titled my talk, Why Libraries Now? And as we know, the theme of today's all the talks is library advocacy for South Asia. So this is my email address, agarwal@simmons.edu. And my website is nareshagarwal.com. And if you're on Twitter, then you can follow me at NareshAG. That's my Twitter handle. Okay. So this is just to give a relative distance. Right now, most of you are in Kathmandu and also connecting from, like in parts of Nepal and also connecting from different parts of South Asia. And this is where I live and work in Boston, Massachusetts, in the USA. And this is just an aerial view of Boston. And this is the university where I teach. So my office is on the second floor of this building. And right now they're building a huge tower over here. And this is actually a library building on the Simmons University campus. And this is the main college building. It was a small university started around 1899 or so. This is more than 120 years old. And this is just spring in Boston. So usually you have a lot of cherry blossom trees. This is just another view of spring. And this is the fall. So September and October, you see a lot of fall colors. So it looks like fire everywhere with a lot of red, yellow, orange, and green. This is some views of the fall. And this is Sikkim right now. So I'm very close to you. I'm in Gangtok. And this is a state in North Sikkim, like Gurudongmar. And this is the school that I studied in Tashinangal Academy in Gangtok. So in 1995, I got a scholarship to study in Singapore. So this is a view of Singapore. And this is Nanyang Technological University where I did my bachelor's in computer engineering. And then I worked for 3 years in the industry. And it was primarily in Singapore, but also a few months in Hyderabad in India at that time, and also in the Bay Area in Silicon Valley as a computer engineer. And then I came back to Singapore to do my computer engineering. So then I did my PhD at that point. So my research area centers are. Sorry, I think I lost the. Can you hear me now? I think I lost the connection for a little while. Let me just see. Do you all see me? Can you hear me, Reshma?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes.
And you can see my screen also, right?
Yeah, we are seeing this screen, sir.
Okay, wonderful. So yeah, I just lost the internet for a very little while. And so this is information science. So basically the space of the interaction between a person, information, and technology. And so at the heart of my research is the actor or the user, and which in our case would be a library patron, and most likely the people who use the library in Nepal and in other countries and in South Asia. So it could be a conference attendee, a working person, a student, even a child, or any other person. And this person has some need for information. So when the person has a need, the person starts looking for information. It can be from people in the workplace. It can be from people at home to friends and family, or it can be for people in the reference desk of the library or going to the library. And then you can also borrow books and other resources from the library. And you can access information from computer-based sources, as we know, from information systems, so through tablets, smartphones, and desktops and laptops. And sometimes we find information serendipitously when we're not really looking for it, and we have this big aha moment. And as this information comes about, we try to make sense of this information. Some of it makes sense, but some of it might give rise to new questions, and then we continue this process of searching until a point where we don't really have all the answers to our questions, but we might say that, okay, that's enough for now, and we give up. And there are also times when we want to avoid information. So in the last 3 or 4 years, I've done research on why do people not respond to messages and calls sent on WhatsApp or Messenger and other forms of services, and what impact does it have when people do not respond to your calls or messages. And this entire field is called information behavior. And a related area is knowledge management. So I do research in that area as well. And the whole thing can be seen as a part of the user's context. So I also wrote a book on context in 2018. So this was my book on trying to understand what context is in information behavior. So this was a 2018 book. In 2021, I wrote a book which came out in South Asia as Engineering to Ikigai, and in worldwide as You Know the Glory, Not the Story. And it's a story of 25 people who went from India to Singapore on scholarship, and how they went on to find the Ikigai, or the reason for being in their lives. And currently I'm working on a book with Anwarul Islam of Bangladesh on managing knowledge in libraries, and research implementation and innovation. So this is my sabbatical project. I'll be on sabbatical from July to December 2023 from my university. So I'll be working on this book during that period with Anwar. And it's a book project with Routledge. So coming back to our talk, so as to why libraries now, right? And we talk about library advocacy in South Asia. I think somebody needs to be muted. Reshma, could you mute any of the sound that's coming? Yep.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay.
It's like I think net is slow, no?
No, okay,
Due to
no.
internet.
No, net is
Audio
fine.
is not so clear.
Audio is okay. Sorry, I think I lost the internet again, so I'm back now. So I'm just going to share my screen again.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So why libraries? So when we talk about libraries, right? So these are just some views of the libraries. This is the Boston Public Library, and this is the interior of the Boston Public Library, and this is the New York Public Library, and this is the inside of the New York Public Library, and And this is a more modern library, the Seattle Public Library, which has more modern resources and an infrastructure in that. Yeah, so there are various libraries, as you know, across the world, in the US as well. And Yadavji talked about the history of libraries and what's happening with library advocacy in Nepal. So when we talk about why, right? Now, this is the sign on the top of the Boston Public Library, which says free for all, right? Free to all. So the role of library is basically to provide free resources to people who might otherwise not have access to information. So that has been for ages, right, across the world as to why libraries are needed. So as a place for access and resources of materials that might not be easily available, and also as a safe and a welcome space for everyone. That's kind of a primary motive for libraries. And let's go and do a same search on ChatGPT. So let's open chat here. So I have ChatGPT open here. And if I go and search for why libraries, right? So ChatGPT will hopefully give us some answers to these questions, right? When we talk about library advocacy. So it says, so libraries are essential institutions that foster learning, promote literacy, and provide access to information. So here, access to information, education, lifelong learning, a community hub, promoting literacy, preservation of knowledge, bridging the digital divide, and support for research and innovation. These are given as some of the primary reasons why libraries are needed, right? And we all kind of know about them. So coming back to our talk. So when we talk about now, like, so what's the different now? What is it in the current circumstances which makes library advocacy so important and around the world and in South Asia? What are the reasons? Like, what has changed? So one big change. So this is, I try to think of a number of key points and wrote down a number of reasons why libraries are needed even more now than ever before. But we'll talk about some of them in a little bit of depth. So this is South Asia, right? Which, as we know, like has more than 1/4 of humanity. So it has India, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Maldives, Afghanistan, and Pakistan. So these countries are there, and libraries also have had a very important role in this region, with Ranganathan being a very important figure in the library field and in library history across the world. So one has been the impact of COVID. So since the COVID pandemic, right, what has happened is that we have seen that many people have lost their lives, or many people have lost their friends and family. Then also a lot more people have gotten comfortable doing things online, and you'll find that a lot of libraries and library schools in South Asia during the COVID period also provided a lot of webinars for the students. And something like the kind of stuff like that Reshma is organizing, right? That has been happening in the past few years. And so one thing we have to understand is that the world is never going to be the same again, because post-COVID, a lot of people learned different things, and we realized that life is fragile. People are much more tired. A lot of people took on different kinds of jobs which they may not have done ever before, and we want to live a lot more impactful lives now. I think that so. In a post-COVID world, a lot of people started working from homes. There are hybrid workplaces. Now some people work more online, some people work more from home, and companies are allowing that. And even a lot of students are choosing to do things online. So people in general got more comfortable with things online than was ever possible before. So we have to realize that our patrons and the people who use the library now, our users, they are also from a post-COVID world. They are people who are tired, people who have lost family, people who are now slowly trying to recover, and also people might have financial impact, right? And the same thing is going for our librarians as well. The librarians also are people from a post-COVID. We can't even say post-COVID, but in a world, we don't know whether COVID is completely gone or not, but at least which has the major impact that we had in the past in 2021, 22, that is sort of behind us. So that is one to realize that among our users, right, and also among our librarians. Secondly, when we talk about population, so we talk about underserved populations. So there are people who use the libraries, right? But what about people who might be homeless or people who are poor and may not have access to resources? And these are our non-users. And we again have to be, a library is also a space for non-users, but how do we really identify the non-users and make them aware of what the library is and what resources does it provide, right? So how can a library become not just a place for the elite of people who are educated, but also people who are aspirational and people who might benefit from using the library? And the variety of materials. So this is a current view of the Simmons University Library. We just had a lot of renovation done. And this is, I visited it recently when the ASIS board meeting was held just earlier at the end of May in Boston. And this is where we had a dinner at an evening reception at the library. So this is a library space. As you can see, it's a space for providing materials. Sorry, of course, but in terms of physical books, but increasingly, a library is also a place for providing digital materials and for scanning of textbooks for students. And it has things like some of our places have 3D printers and stuff like that. So, and also now we can see that it's also a place where people just come to be quiet and to sit like as a community space. So it's not just a place where you borrow materials and resources, which primarily used to be the role of libraries. So it is more of a community center now. And also across the world, diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility are very big words. So which means that how do we cater to people of different abilities, different sexual orientations, different ages, different abilities, so of different ethnicities, different nationalities? How do we bridge the divides that have sometimes there, or the prejudice that we might have in our minds, and provide library as an equitable space for everyone, right? And that's where a library plays an important role as well. And also as from a space that provides materials and resources to one of community engagement, a place where you bring the community together, in Nepal, there used to be guthis, right, as a space. Nevari guthis is a place for community engagement. Then you also have monasteries and temples and that, but also a library has also been a space for community engagement, and increasingly that will be important even as we go online. That even though more and more people are doing things on smartphones and being away from homes, but how can we provide a physical space, a physical meeting space, right? That's really important. Like, for instance, I've been living and working abroad for so many years now, but when I come home and visit family and friends in person, it makes a huge difference. So physical meeting is very, very important, even though we have the convenience of online engagement. So library is still that physical space, which is very important, which cannot be replicated by Google or ChatGPT and so on. And universal design. So how can we make design accessible to not just the disabled, but also to everyone? So when we take care of people with different abilities, when we take care of the older people, the disabled or the pregnant women and of children, then we also make the place accessible to everyone. So when you provide, for instance, a lift or an elevator, right? It's not just the people who are disabled who are benefited, but also other people who are carrying, let's say, huge amount of luggage or suitcases and so on. From then again, a lift is useful. So even in the design of libraries, and also in a place like Nepal where there's mountains and hills, right? Accessibility is very difficult sometimes for older people because they have to climb big hills or steps, and so a lot of people I've seen get stuck in their homes if they get disabled. So how can we build solutions for accessibility in our libraries, right? That's also important, and not just in a physical interfaces, but also in a digital interfaces. This was one of the papers that I wrote on. This is with Faraj Al-Saidi, and this is on fighting disinformation. And so this paper proposes a framework for disinformation and fake news. And the library has always been a place for teaching information literacy, but now it has an even bigger role, because how can you make out that all the information that we get is not false? There's a lot of false narrative that's going on, and we have to confront our own confirmation biases in the way we can fight false information. So not only do we need to confront our own biases, but also teach our children and teach our students and teach our general public as to how to fight that. And the library is very, very important in this role, and as really an advocate for fighting false information. So even if the library does one new thing or one thing, it would be this thing as to fighting false information, because it's such an important need right now. And also as a place for open access. So there are different kinds of open access publishing models like green open access or gold open access and so on. So especially for academic libraries and universities, we can become a place for, as a publisher, where all the research that is published by faculty members in universities, the library could take that research and help put that in the institutional repository of the university. And the library can be the one that's maintaining that for the university. So library can be a very important advocate for open access and also serve as a publisher. And not just like trying to subscribe to resources from publishers. And also a meditative space to fight mental health, because mental health again is a very, very important need. No amount of technology can help us do that, because as we get getting more connected, we're also getting more disconnected, and people are there in very alone in their homes because everybody is staring down at their screens. So we really have to teach our children and teach everyone how to deal with their minds, right? And Nepal is actually a center for contemplation and mindfulness since ages. And Nepal can take a lead in this space in terms of creating libraries as meditation centers and meditative spaces for the general public. A place for creativity, as again, right? You can have maker spaces and different kinds of solutions where students and people come together to create different kinds of things in the library. Also to help fulfill the UN Sustainable Development Goals, so which are on education, gender equality, innovation, all of that. So library can be an advocate, and if not all of these goals, but at least some of these is where the library can come forward. And we also have the competition from Google and ICTs. So different library systems are trying to provide one search interfaces in which you can have an easier search interface for our resources. Also, sometimes in university libraries, the library is becoming almost invisible and being integrated into learning management systems and so on. So again, we have to think of how can we fight the competition from technology, and also how to deal with ChatGPT and the ethical dimensions of artificial intelligence. I think I can hear some sound. Can we mute that, Rishma?
Yeah, yes, sir. I just muted.
Thank you. So again, how can we again, because a lot of software engineers might lose their jobs now, because especially the front end ones where you have Python programming and website development and all that being done by ChatGPT now. So how can we use ChatGPT intelligently? How can we use it in schools? And what kind of a role can the library play in the ethical use of artificial intelligence? So these are again some of the opportunities that libraries have to understand it ourselves and then to educate people. And also when we have the fight for resources, right? How can we come up with a demand-driven acquisition of resources, whereby we buy the things which people need, and not just buy things like how to decide what to buy and what not to buy. And when you decide what not to buy, how does it impact the people who use the resources infrequently? So these are again some of the challenges and opportunities both. And also come from turning into a place that gathers all resources to the one that serves the primary needs of patrons. So that's one thing where the library plays a role as well. And these are some of the publications with Anwar on the library as a place for service innovation and how knowledge management could play a role in that. But how, even when we talk about innovation, right? We're also dealing with people who are very tired and stretched very thin. So Japan, as we know, as a country, is very innovative, but most Japanese also deal with a lot of fatigue and tiredness because of the smart services that which they're able to provide. So how do we take care of people, even as we talk about the future and innovation and technology and all that? So we have to take care of each other, and that part is also important for us to think about as we think about library advocacy. So thank you, and these are my contact details. That's my email, either agarwal@siemens.edu or naresh.agarwal@siemens.edu, my Twitter. That's my website, nareshagarwal.com. I also interview people and put them on a website called projectonenessworld.com. So सबैलाई धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद, and I'm ready to take any questions, or maybe after the talks are over.
Thank you so much, Naresh. Thank you so much for briefing us about the DEIA, and like we have been just like panel discussion also we have done in the ASIS&T forum about the disinformation. And thank you so for insightful your brief presentation, and thank you so much for your kind our, like we have in the short term also we have arranged such a very good resources. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you so much, Reshma.
I just wanted all of you kindly mute yourself so that we can have like kindly mute yourself, all of you, and I'm also muting from here. Thank you for your kind presence, Naresh sir. Thank you so much. Now,
thank you, Reshma.
I just wanted to introduce our Dr. Saidi Hina Batool. She is a postdoc research fellow and visiting professor of University of British Columbia, Vancouver, Canada. And she is assistant professor of Institute of Information Management, University of Punjab. And she is editorial board member of Libre, and she is chair of ASIS&T, Association for Science and Information Technology, South Asia chapter. Welcome, Hina, and floor is to you.
Thank you, Reshma. And am I audible to everyone?
Yes, Hina.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I just want to share my screen. Can you enable me sharing the screen, Reshma, please?
Yes. Just. You have shared the screen, Hina?
Okay, let me try again. No, it says disabled.
Just a minute.
I think you might have to make her co-host.
Okay, I'll just.
Yes, madam,
Yes,
you can share your screen right now.
Okay, thank you. I'll try. Yes, I'm able to do that. Yay. So is my screen visible to everyone? Just to make sure.
Yeah, yes, Hina.
Okay, thank you. So greetings from Vancouver, Canada to everyone. And thank you very much, Reshma and organizers and Mr. Bhola and Mr. Yadab for organizing such a very timely event on library advocacy and making South Asia chapter assist as a partner. I really acknowledge that, and I would like to thank on behalf of all of my team, South Asia chapter team, and my officers and my advisors. Thank you for inviting me as well. This is one of the very significant topic, as Reshma already introduced me, so I'm not going to take much time in my introduction. I just want to switch directly to the topic. So my focus of today's talk is using social media as a library advocacy. And I considered it as a very powerful tool these days because that's a fast and very easy tool to use for library advocacy. So let's see my agenda of today's talk. So first I'm going to talk about, I know everybody know what library advocacy is, just to give a snapshot and overview what is actually library advocacy and why we need advocacy for libraries. I'm just going to pop up some of the basic needs, and then I'm going to talk about the advocacy tools, which can be actionable in the library environment. And then I'm going to share one or two best practice examples from libraries. And then I'll be talking about some popular social media tools which we can use as advocacy tool. And later we can have a question and answers if we have time. So let's move on to the very brief definition of library advocacy. So I'm just going to give a brief snapshot of this. I'm not going to take down the definition. So as per the Canadian Library Association, library advocacy is basically a systematic and planned effort to raise awareness of an issue or maybe different issues. The takeaway from this slide is that it is a planned and systematic approach, which is going to ensure the promotion and survival of libraries in the society. But why we need advocacy for libraries or in the practice of librarianship? So as we all aware that our profession is very much challenged there is a debate in the society, on social media, and in research papers that are libraries going to survive, not going to survive? What would be the future of the librarian? So these kind of debates are, going on on social media as well as on research papers as well as in our literature as well. So people are very much, scared of this fact that due to ICT innovations might be our future would be very dark. So to avoid this phenomena or to have a long life profession and for the sustainability of profession, advocacy is a very significant and very timely practice which we all should focus on. So I'm also going to highlight here that according to American Library Association, like ALA, they have mentioned twice the time advocacy as a core competency for the librarians, specifically for the public librarians. And why we need that? Because it has an influence on our outcomes. Whatever we are doing, it's going to be influence on the society, on the community we are serving. So for sure, the influence of advocacy, the purpose of advocacy is to influence the outcomes in the form of library services and collections. But if we simply say everybody needs to, come for the libraries, everybody should join hands for the library advocacy, that might be not a very healthy formula for the library advocacy practice. So what we need to do, probably the librarians and the library community needs to provide the data and the evidence that why libraries are significant in the society. So why they are working hard and why they have a significant number of users and in terms of services and in terms of influence, so that we can persuade others to join hands for the cause of libraries. So this is very, very important that we not only talk about on conceptual basis, however, we need to talk about with some evidence and with some data. And for that, collecting the evidence and to persuade others, definitely we need to prove from our services and from our collections and from library other programs that libraries are the significant and important component of the society. Let's talk about some tools in libraries. So what we can use within the library which can become our sources for the advocacy. So we can definitely play with our collections. We can make our collection as an advocacy tool. We can also make the services as the advocacy tool. We can engage or plan services for the community, for the public, for the end users, which can become our ultimate advocates. And for sure, the programs like library instruction programs, training programs, and the outreach public events can be the biggest sign of library advocacy. So we all need to work on these tools to enhance the positioning of library in the society. Not only this, but we also need to work on the promotional materials that is very, very significant in this social media age. Because everybody is now on digital landscape and they all wanted to know what libraries are doing out of their boxes. So we should connect to the letters, we should connect to the editors of different newspapers so that they can write about our libraries. We need to connect with some news channels, with social media channels, and we also need to publish our library newsletters, which can highlight the services of the libraries. Another thing which is very important tool could be the walks and rallies. We know that the politicians in our society are gaining positioning and awareness because of they organize rallies and walks, and the marketing they are having and the awareness they are having out of these tools. So we can also use these tools very successfully to advocate our library services and collections. And no doubt this is the social media age. So in this social media age, the tool and the I would say the survival communication tool in future would be social media. So we should not neglect this tool to use for the advocacy of the libraries. I'm going to share here some of the best practices in virtual environment. I'm not going to focus on the physical environment, but I'm focusing on the virtual best practices. Can you unmute yourself, please? Sorry, mute yourself. Any participant, can you please mute yourself? Okay, so what we're gonna do as a first step is to identify our stakeholders, like our library stakeholders. So there are some external stakeholders and internal stakeholders. We need to dig down and position who are our high-level stakeholders. Might be the society, the government, these library supporters, the politicians, and there are some internal stakeholders, which might be our own employees and the owners. So we need to, after making this stakeholder analysis, we need to jump and select the effective social media platform. That could be Twitter, that could be Facebook or any, but you need to very carefully select the medium and the platform, because in your society might be Twitter is very popular. In my context might be the Facebook is the main tool. So we need to select the tool for the social media platform very carefully, depending upon the outreach and the acceptance in our community. Then another thing which is considered as a best practice, and I read two research papers on this aspect, that if you describe your stories of libraries in a digital format, in a storytelling way, that could be a powerful tool. And I'm going to show you in a while in my next slides that how digital stories can be the best tool for the library advocacy. But we should not wait for the crisis, that the crisis would come, we are short of the funding and we are having, our profession is dying. Then we need to start and think about our advocacy strategy. We need to think ahead of that. That should be a continuous process of our library and in librarianship. As I mentioned in the library advocacy definition, that this is a continuous process. This should not be one-time process. Next, I'm going to talk about some of the best practices. So this is a screenshot from a research paper I have cited here down there in my slide. This librarian basically talked about the successful story of library advocacy. First of all, this librarian identified the stakeholders, and then the librarian identified the school library programs which she can use as a library advocacy tool, which are the best school library program. And she developed and made a storytelling on those school library programming and programs. And then you could see in the screenshot that there are multiple options to share on different social media platforms. Then the librarian actually won this by sharing her story and developing this short video on Animoto. This is one of the application of video development, and she used it successfully for library advocacy. So we could also think about to include our stakeholders such as the parents, the administration, and other governing boards and bodies to share our library best practice stories, and we can get the advocacy out of that. Another example is this librarian also shared her story of building readers and reaching out the building communities program, and she reached out to the community through school library program, and then she reflected her overall building readers program through a digital story. She made this video and then she shared on multiple social media platforms, and she made her positioning for the school library. And everyone becomes, the supporter of this library in the end, the parents, the governing body, and the administrators, and the end users as well. So these are kind of two successful cases, which could be the best practice in our scenario. And we can also think about developing such advocacy practices and adopting and adapting such practices in our own context and scenario. Next, I'm going to talk about the popular social media tools. Obviously, these are just the common tools, but there are lots of social media applications and tools which you can definitely use for library advocacy. For example, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, and Tumblr. I'm going to share here in the next slide as a case study, like social media, how we can use Twitter as an advocacy tool. So I'm going to share this that how we can successfully use Twitter as an advocacy tool. But you can select the tool, as I mentioned earlier, depending upon the audience you have, depending upon the community you have. You can also check the statistics country-wise that which social media tool is popular in your country. So if we take the example of Twitter, which is very popular these days, specifically, it's a big handler in the hands of politicians and celebrities and other popular figures in our society. So first of all, you need to keep in focus that how many Twitter users are there in your country, whether you are in Nepal, in India, in Pakistan, and wherever you are, you need to first and then you can discuss and decide your outreach. If the Twitter is the best case in your settings, then definitely go for Twitter. Or you can use multiple tools simultaneously if you have time and have a proper team for this handling. It is also recommended and advised in research by researchers that always create institutional account instead of individual, because institutional accounts are considered more significant and authentic and get more advocacy. Also create a catchy hashtag, for example, save libraries or whatever you are aiming for, and whatever the strategy of your advocacy is. So you need to use the very catchy hashtags to make a positioning in the society. Also, remember to follow the celebrities and the politicians and the government officials in your own settings, so that once you follow those, and then you can tag those guys, and then you can gain more advocacy and positioning for your libraries. Also, use cross-posting on other social media platforms. Never use one platform. Use multiple platforms, for example, Facebook and Tumblr and YouTube to make it more outreach. There is one of the successful case mentioned in literature. That is a case of school librarian Kelsey Williams. And Kelsey Williams, by using the Twitter as a handler, and she used the Save Libraries hashtag, and she could raise the funds for her library in 1 year, as she has major budget cut on her library funding. And then she decided to run that campaign on Twitter, and she was the successful case among the school librarians in Korea, and she won the grant, whatever she needed for 1 year. So these type of examples could be our best practice examples in our community, and we can also think about following such depending upon our circumstances. How we can make the effective advocacy for, so we can use the effective strategy, we can make and develop effective advocacy strategy for our fundraising. If we wanted to have a legislation for the public libraries, and you want any kind of legislation for libraries and librarianship, you can use advocacy and social media tools for this. And for sure, as the profession sustainability, that should be a continuous tool which can be running throughout the librarianship and throughout the services and collections as a landscape. We can also use it for promotion, or if we wanted to encourage any course of action and making the positioning in the society. These are the references, and thank you very much. I hope I have completed my talk within the time. If you have any question, I'm happy to talk about.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hina, for your insightful presentations and enlightening and keywords like advocacy practice, advocacy tools, virtual practices, and you have briefed us. Thank you so much. And also we have also done like in story of Botanical is like cooperated author from Read Nepal. We have been success for this in UNESCO Digital Library with a corporate author is Read Nepal. We have storytelling, as I just wanted to brief that in Nepal also we have done, and with the cooperation of Read Nepal, and this it is in UNESCO Digital Library. Okay, thank you. So thank you so much for your time and for your insightful presentations, for briefing us about advocacy, library advocacy. Now I would like to welcome Dr. Ruwan Gamage. He is the immediate past president of Sri Lanka Library Association, and he is a senior lecturer of Maldives National University and National Institute of Library and Information Science, University of Colombo. Dr. Ruwan, sir, welcome.
Thank you, Reshma. Yes, I will share my presentation. Can you see it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it is visible.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, and all the guests, good morning to all of you. As Reshma introduced me, I am currently a senior lecturer at the Maldives National University on an assignment basis. Actually, I'm working at the National Institute of Library and Information Sciences, University of Colombo, Sri Lanka. And I was the immediate past president of the Sri Lanka Library Association, and also immediate past chair of the South Asia chapter of the ASIS&T. So I think this is the second time that I meet you in Nepal event. So good to see all of you again. So and thank you, Reshma and organizers for inviting me again. So this is a topic that very much near to me, to my heart. The library advocacy, I had been working towards this for the last 20 years or so. as a librarian and then as a library and information science teacher. The libraries are, of course, as many of the speakers pointed out, these are sacred spaces of knowledge and inspiration and have long played a vital role in our communities, foster learning and imagination and access to information. But however, this phase of evolving technologies and changing priorities, the importance of advocacy must have reinstated. So I will briefly look into the expectations of the general public from what they expect from the libraries and also the policymakers who decide on libraries, and explore the differences between the perceptions of these two groups. And also as a method of refocusing our attention to libraries, I will show how the Sri Lanka Library Association has used the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. And I will briefly show an extract of the Sri Lanka Library Association's SDG action plan that was developed in 22, and it will be covering up to 2024. So some might argue that libraries have become obsolete in an age dominated by digital media and internet. After all, we can access information at our fingertips. So search engines and as Naresh also demonstrated, AI chatbots provide customized answers. However, this perspective overlooks the true essence of the library, the curated collections. We have the knowledgeable librarians and the inclusive spaces that the libraries provide. Libraries are not the responsibility of the library lies in the hands of everybody. These are not just buildings, these are not just spaces, but it's a collection of community. So today, we find the critical juncture that the library advocacy has because of these developments. We must ensure the libraries have the tools and resources to adapt and drive the digital age. So, and we must also ensure adequate funding and support from our governments. Otherwise, we cannot survive. These communities, in addition to the governmental bodies or the funders, the communities also, and educational institutions that have libraries. We have to encourage them to advocacy and influence them. A robust library system can empower individuals, bridge this digital divide, and foster a lifelong love for reading and learning. In the face of budget cuts, reduced hours, and the threat of closure, human rights, especially during this time, many of these the countries of the world are facing economic crisis, and especially it is also affecting Sri Lanka. And there is a threat for closures. We don't know still. Yeah, because there are so many budget cuts being experienced, so then we have to show the relevance of the libraries to the decision makers. We must ensure that every member of our community, regardless of their socio-economic, has equal access to the resources and services. By investing in our libraries, we invest in the intellectual capital. So in the words of author Neil Gaiman, Google can bring you 100,000 answers, but a librarian can bring you the right one. In the age of artificial intelligence also, what should be the answer? If someone question us. For example, ChatGPT knows up to only up to September 2021, but librarians know how to retrieve knowledge updated right now. So therefore, we should stand united in our commitment to preserving and strengthening our libraries for to bring forward the necessary action. So today I selected the topic of libraries at the forefront of sustainable development because all our attention is currently focused on sustainable development goals, 2030 sustainable development goals. So it has become the resounding mantra in our outcry within the education world, and the policymakers and stakeholders all are focusing on this now more than ever. So there is great potential in that to win the library stakeholders' attention, especially the decision makers of the future of libraries. So if I go to the next slide, the people's expectations from libraries can vary widely, but some common expectations could be like access to information. So this is perhaps the most fundamental expectation of people from the libraries, whether they are looking for books, research articles, digital resources, or historical documents. Users expect libraries to provide a broad and diverse collection, of course. And then the resources and services, the library services, they often like providing computers, Wi-Fi, digital databases, audiobooks, and all these resources, and having new ways of providing services. And also the quiet and welcoming spaces. That is one thing that in today's especially this in an area where people are stressed with a lot of competition, if we can provide that, that is also a requirement from the general public. And the programming and events. So people at all ages need services like book clubs, author talks, literary programs, technology training, and a lot of others. And digital resources, online services are also very much required. Now this virtual reality, augmented reality is, of course, bringing us more resources and services. So the technology is not a fault. It is helping us in a way than before. And in fostering inclusivity, the libraries are required by the general public for this, because not everybody can have the luxury to access all the resources. Even if resources are available, it would be costly. But these expectations can differ based on individual needs, and also these the policymakers have sometimes a little different perspective on this. They need the promotion of literacy and education through libraries. Of course, that is one of the main targets. In the government, for example, need literacy promotion and provide access to information, of course. And digital inclusion also. The policymakers now, when we I have seen a lot of government officials making comments on libraries, sometimes face to face, sometimes in other media. We see most of the time this but their comments are we have to do more work in digital inclusion. That is one area that they they highlight, and also the community engagement and development that is also required by the policymakers. Ask the libraries to become community hubs, and the preservation of cultural heritage, economic development, so and social inclusion, equity, and all above everything. I think the last last point I made, return on investment, is something that the policymakers are focusing attention, because of today's the changing environments. Now, most of the things, I mean, when we talk about return on investment, it is even the sociological acts, sociological methods bring us some benefits that cannot be measured by by money, by direct return. But we are moving towards that. Whether the people are, especially the policymakers, are thinking whether the money spent on libraries have been really useful. Although we as librarians agree that the provision of library service is not monetary. We can't measure it by monetary value, but we in a world where people are moving towards measuring everything with the monetary value, we also have to show that how library services, the effect of library services, can be shown. So with this, we have the differences between these the different perspectives of the general public and the policymakers. We have to make new ways of find new ways of measuring this with the economic growth, with job creation, innovation, productivity, quality of life. We are enhancing the well-being of the society as whole, and inclusivity, and giving opportunities. And with all these, we have to make sure that we, as libraries, show these clearly to the policymakers. And of course, with all these differences and perceptions, the economic value of service organizations is highly regarded as in the world scene. It is highly regarded, and in the wake of these the SDGs, especially the goals 4, 8, 10, and 11 are considered very much related to the library services. And not only that, but every goal, the library has a special role in achieving all 17 goals. But those are regarded as the essential ones. So this universal action, this is a universal action. Therefore, and every country is expected to adhere to these goals and to prepare goals for achieving them to the most achievable point by 2030. So and the countries don't get funds from overseas funds if they don't adhere to them. If they don't show this to the funders, they don't get funds. So that has been linked to those funding and all the other the support from international support also. Therefore, the countries are interested in this, and if we can demonstrate that libraries also can support in this, then there is a good opportunity for libraries to showcase their requirement, their need, the need of the country by having and improving the libraries for that need. So libraries are well positioned to contribute to these goals in many ways, and highlighting those contributions can be a powerful form of advocacy, of course. So here are a few examples. So I mentioned number 4, number 8, number 10, and number 11 are very much closer to our work. So I don't want to repeat that because many speakers in this event have already mentioned how we can support in that. But of course, I will go into what the Sri Lanka Library Association has done, especially towards achieving this goal. Actually, the SLLA has focused on this SDG implementation through and working together with the Sri Lanka SDG Council. There's a team working towards that, and especially Dr. Premila Gamage, and also the current president of the Sri Lanka Library Association, Dr. Ananda Tissa, and many others were included in this team. The active participants in the Sri Lanka Library Association, and also the officers, all the officers were included in this team, and I was also a member of this group. And after a lot of meetings, we prepared an action plan for the association, 2022-2024 action plan. And I don't say that from 2022 to 2023, we have achieved all our goals. No, we haven't achieved the goals because of various difficulties, and that therefore now the Sri Lanka Library Association is trying to revise it and present a new action plan and work. We are working together. We are working closely with the SDG Council. So because the SDG Council has included the SLLA as a partner organization of this initiative, the libraries, the library profession also has got a good positioning in the overall process of the achieving SDGs. Earlier, it was not there because this is the first time the Library Association, any kind of library association, has moved into the Sri Lankan framework. Of course, IFLA is working towards SDG achievement, and it is promoting it. Actually, the Sri Lankan SLLA also was influenced by the activities of the in International Federation of Library Associations and Institutions, IFLA. And I'm giving just one example for this action plan of this is an extract of the action plan. Since this is not a public document, I'm not sharing it, but as I said, we are making some revisions to this. So in here, as you can see, now, for example, under goal 1, SDG strategy, one of the strategies is to ensure women's equal access to economic resources and effective services. So we have to link all what we do in libraries to these goals and show in our reports. That is one essential aspect of advocacy in library advocacy in this era. Of course, many libraries are doing a lot of work. Librarians are working hard to achieve many goals in their own, but they are not specifically mentioning that SDG, we are working towards SDGs or achieving SDGs, and we don't have we don't mention it in our reports also, and we are not actually, libraries are not good at reporting. I have visited so many libraries, the first grade 1 libraries in Sri Lanka, and they are doing a lot of work. They are doing a lot of work, but reporting aspect is very low, and the publicity, giving publicity and giving taking their work beyond the levels of the walls of the library is very low. So this is one aspect that we have to focus on. So for example, now one of the libraries that I have visited, the Katubed, the public library, it is called the Janaseta Public Library. I have seen they collect newspaper cuttings, the clippings of newspaper. Still at this smart age, also they are doing this using newspapers, they paper cuttings, they collect and organize and collecting files. Many Sri Lanka libraries are doing this, but I am sure that in Nepal also this type of work is being carried out. And my experience I'm sharing about Sri Lanka. So this they keep those, and they target this on a specific group, because in Sri Lanka usually the housewives, mothers bring their children to the kindergarten or primary school, and then until the school is over, they have to find a place to stay, because going back to home and coming back could be difficult. So this library has taken advantage of this, and they are using these paper cuttings to attract the these mothers of children, school-going children, and it could be food recipe, or it could be an instructional article on raising children, or whatever. They on different topics, they have collected everything and organized well in the library. So I have seen by my own eyes that it is very popular among these women, and it is directly linked to this the goal that is mentioned here. So this type of work we can link to the goals and provide, if we can provide assistance to the libraries as library associations also, guide them to record these and activities and present it to the general public and to the policymakers. Of course, the local government administer the public libraries, so we can give this to the local governments to ensure that their funding is continued to the libraries. So I think my time is now over. So these are a few things that that I wanted to mention about the specific activities of Sri Lanka, and I if you give me 1 minute, I will share my experience in Maldives, but only in a few sentences. Of course, Maldives doesn't have public libraries. It has only I think 2-3 public libraries, and some of them are private libraries, because Maldives is a country where it's an archipelago, which means a collection of islands, and there are 200, I think, yes, 200 islands, populated islands. So these islands do not have public libraries. Only the Malé, the main city, that island, Malé Island, has library, public library. Actually, it is the National Library, which is regarded as the public library. So they are also working towards, now they can't, it is these islands mostly have like 2,000 population in one island. It is sometimes it is less than that, sometimes it is a little higher than that. So they have one school, and mostly there is no public library. But I have seen that they have suggested one suggestion that came here is to convert the school library into a public library after the school, so that the general public in the island can visit there and use it as a public library. So they have proposed this to the councils, and then councils are moving. They are looking for ways of supporting this idea and to provide the library services. So with that, I will stop my presentation. So thank you for giving me the opportunity. So if you have questions later on, I can attend to that. Right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ruwan, sir. As a senior lecturer, is working in the Maldives National University. So thank you so much for briefing us about the sustainable progress, expectation of the general public, and after policymakers, administrators, contribution of the social organizations, and about the partners. Like library advocates are not only the librarians and information professionals, but also the business leaders and workers also who are non-professionals, like non-librarians. They also can contribute to build up the library. That is also the part of the library advocacy. And yes, it's true, library staffs, library users, and elected officials also can, they are also focusing on the library education. Like we have educators, administrators, and also board members. These all are the library advocates. Now, I just wanted to welcome our Gita madam, Gita Thapa Giri madam. She is the ex-president of Nepal Library Association, and currently she is the executive board member of the secretary of READ Nepal, and she has lots of experience as a medical librarian. She has worked, and Gita ma'am is always our inspiration. She is the senior and most kind-hearted person I ever met. Uh, as a librarian, she has worked for many years, more than 30 years. Might be 40, no? 40, Gita ma'am?
41.
42 years. 41 years. She has lots of experience, and I have got opportunity to learn many things from Gita ma'am, and she is always our loving and caring mother of librarians. Thank you, Gita ma'am. Now over to you, Gita ma'am.
Okay, Reshma ji.
Namaste. Namaste and good morning.
Yeah, Gita madam, I would like to thank say a few words to our previous presenter, Ruwan Gamage. We are also planning to meet our parliamentarians, especially the Sustainable Development Goals Committee members, and we are going to talk about the role of public libraries, how public and community libraries can help to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, and they are very interested. Your presentation will be guideline for us, sir. Thank you very much. On behalf of the Nepal Library Association and myself, I would like to express my sincere thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
So we will borrow some words and lessons from you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Yadab, sir. We have also question and answer session after our Gita ma'am presentation. Thank you so much, Yadab, sir.
Should I start, Reshma?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Gita ma'am.
Namaste and good morning to all participants. And thank you very much for ASIT, Reshma and Yadab and Niraula sir for giving me this opportunity to share my knowledge in library ethics. So I want to share my screen. Is it visible?
Not yet, madam. Not yet. Yes, you can share.
So first I want to start. What is ethics? The word ethics is derived from the Greek word ethos. It means character. It is the science of moral. It is that branch of philosophy which is concerned with human character and conduct. It is a
Gita, madam, have you shared your slides? I think it is not visible. Have you? Yeah,
share गरेको छैन?
I think.
मैले हेरिरहेको छु त.
But I think it is not shared yet.
Be serious.
आयो? अहिले आयो?
No, at all.
No. Yeah, please check once. Okay.
Share गर्ने कहाँ गयो? फोन चाहिँ म एन्ड सो गर्छु.
तलको त्यो ब्लू शेयर स्क्रिन भन्ने त्यहाँ एउटा
अहिले भयो कहाँ त सिलेक्ट विन्डोज फर एन एप्लिकेसन भन्छ.
च्याटको छेउमा त्यहाँ शेयर स्क्रिन भन्ने एउटा बटन छ हेर्नु त.
त्यहाँ शेयर स्क्रिन त हरियो बटनमा हो. मैले क्लिक गरे यहाँ पाउनुस् है.
भयो म्याडम. अहिले
it's coming. Yes. Yes. Okay.
अब सुरु गरौँ है. So what is ethics? The word ethics is derived from the Greek word ethos. It means character. It is the science of moral. It is that branch of philosophy which is concerned with human character and conduct. It is a type of practice, characteristics, qualities, spirits, responsibilities, principles, moral value, etc. to justify the profession. Definition of librarian. The librarian is an individual who carries out the activities, functions of the library and information centers by providing services to the society according to their organization and self-knowledge. By helping other people to find richer lives and greater dignity, librarians can considerably enrich their own feelings of self-worth. Ethics, basis of library advocacy. Ethics of librarianship according to Dr. S.R. Ranganathan. Duty to readers. Guide the only can enlighten others, whereas an ignorant person being incapable of guiding himself or herself. Duty of the books. Ranganathan says book is as a human body. We have to care like our body, and the content and information on it is the soul of the book. Duty to the profession, polite, humble, knowledgeable, scholar, etc. Duty to the staff. We should encourage them, right behavior we have to do. We should be always polite for them. Teaching power, we have to give them the teaching power also, how to work, etc. Duty to himself or herself, well qualified, professionally trained, good interpersonal skills, internet savvy, compassionate, helpful nature, etc. We have to improve all these qualities in ourselves also. Course, according to Krishna Swami Iyer, destroy the bar and you will destroy a bulwark of civil and criminal justice. It is equally applicable to the library profession. Destroy the library profession and the people will become amenable to the demon of ignorance. If we give them the wrong information, the people also destroy their character. I want to say like that meaning is that. Duties to association and professions to upgrade library and information science, profession development among librarians. Every librarian should make the Association of Librarians a forum for cooperation, a place of consultation, and a place for personal training. Librarians should contribute with energy, thought, and funds to the association. By holding high the good name of the association, librarians should keep away from all acts, expression, and attitudes which could damage the association and the profession. We have a code. The code of conduct indicates the standards of behavior expected of a member of the association. To set out in general terms the standard and duties which is reasonable to expect a professional to observe. This can be used as a point of reference when dealing with disciplinary, procedures against members. Thus is intended to protect the profession, individual practitioners, and their clients. International Library Association and the Code of Ethics, ALA, American Library Association, the code was revised in 1981, 1995, and again in 2008. From this link, we can have all the information regarding the ALA Code of Ethics. What is intellectual freedom? Intellectual freedom is the right of every individual to both seek and receive information from all points of view without restriction. It provides for free access to all expression of ideas through which any and all sides of a question's cause or movement may be explored. IFLA have freedom of access to information and freedom of expression. The full form of IFLA is, this manifesto was prepared by FIFA and adopted unanimously on 23rd August 2002 at the 68th IFLA General Conference and Council held at Glasgow, Scotland. The objective of IFLA is to raise awareness of the essential correlation between the library concept and the values of freedom of expression, collect and disseminate documentation, and aim to stimulate a dialogue both within the outside the library world. Act as a focal point on the issue of freedom of expression, libraries, and librarianship. The high priority should be promotion of ICTs for the development, capacity building, cultural diversity and identity, linguistic diversity and local contents, ethical dimensions of the information society. Nepal Library Association, it was established in 2010 BS and reformed in 2037 BS. It is the responsibility of Nepal Library Association to form the course of ethics, and also the whole responsible goes to the individual members to strengthen the association in Nepal. Now it is the reference, and thank you. I have prepared very short, and I want to show one.
Yes, madam, we are yeah. Just
here I want to show that here is the creator of the information, the creator of knowledge information. This is the library mediator, and this is the user. So library is always the mediator to connect the creator and the user. This is the main role played by the librarians. Thank you very much. Any question? Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Gita ma'am, for your short and sweet presentations and briefing us about all the ethics. Well, ethics plays a major role for the advocacy in the library and for the librarians. Thank you so much. Now, I just wanted all the participants who wanted to question to our key speakers, please raise your hand and we can call your name and you can question to the keynote speakers. Please raise your hand, like we have digital raising hand. So please raise your hand so that I can see your name. Okay, thank you, Leela ma'am. Leela ma'am, you can unmute yourself and you can question to the respected people.
Yes, thank you very much. My questions are for three keynotes. First of all, I would like to thank all of the keynote speakers. To the Naresh Agarwal sir, he has presented well that how Nepal could explore the new avenues, giving the services to users. I would just like to want him to make connections like how the Boston people or New York people are using libraries in their daily life nowadays. As far as here we are generally talking about the decreasing number of users coming into the libraries to share the physical space, to use the physical space, and to use the collections of the libraries in Nepal. This is, I think, is the alarming problems that Nepali librarians are continuously reporting to us. How is the situation in the developed countries? This is the one question for Naresh. And related to these collections, I would like to ask with Madam Syeda Hina. She has explained that collection is one of the effective tool to advocate library. As we see in the context of Nepal, that same collections repeated in numbers of libraries. Like the same collection in Nepal Library, National Library, the same collection in Kesher Library, blah, blah, blah. So how the collections be made specialized and unique? How could we do? Because in market, the same publications we will find. That's why perhaps the same kind of collections were built. So in your experience, how can libraries make or help to build a unique collections? This is the questions for Madam Syeda. And to Sir Ruwan, as I have written in, yes, he has also written back the answer to my chat box. I'm quite, you know, in some months ago, we were hearing the very horrific news about the political crisis, about the economic crisis of Sri Lanka. And we are also reflecting the same news from Nepal as well, that how prone Nepal is having the economic crisis in these years. So we mean the libraries are already always in the vulnerable situations about having low budget. Due to the low budget, we always couldn't perform what we would like to. So what is the situation? What was the situation in Sri Lanka at that time? Like how they cope with that political crisis, that economic crisis? How are they moving ahead with such kind of challenges? So these three questions I would like to ask to each keynote presenter. Thank you.
Naresh
रेशमा मेरो छ है
हुन्छ बिना म्याडम एकछिनमा एन्सर भएपछि ल म्याडम नरेश सर आर यु देयर Ruwan sir
Yes, so yeah, one thing
I'll contact now. And sorry, Hina has yeah, she had to leave because it's like too late in the Canada. So for that question, Naresh sir, Ruwan sir, you can carry our Leela ma'am question, or also you can answer. Gita ma'am also can answer, and other also can answer the queries of our Leela ma'am.
Yeah.
Ruwan sir. Okay.
Yes, I will answer the question regarding the economic crisis in Sri Lanka and how it affects the library sector. Of course, not only the library sector, but all organizations have been affected, all institutions. But especially the libraries, directly libraries are affected because there is no, the funds are very low for purchasing resources. So I don't know exactly how individual institutions are tackling this problem, but because I'm away from Sri Lanka for a long time, and then therefore I don't know specifically how institutions are tackling, but I know generally there is no new funds coming, and also the recruitments had been stopped for a long time, not even before this economic crisis came to the surface. Coming to the surface, it was happening earlier. So the new recruitments are not being carried out, and also the replacements are not there. Even there had been some examinations for recruiting government librarians, and the results have been out now, but these recruitments have not been made. New recruitments have not been made. But if there is a librarian who has who is already working somewhere in a local government institution, or any other institution, but want to who has passed from this examination and then want to transfer to a new position, new place, then that is allowed. Otherwise, there is no recruit. So the libraries are working with a skeleton staff, sometimes very difficult to run. So that is, but this is not just from last year or the previous year, but for a long time this had been happening. So it is these are the direct impacts, but other indirect impacts also could be there. Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Naresh sir, are you there? Naresh sir? Okay, we just wanted to take the other question. I think he will be joining. I have message to Naresh sir also. And thank you so much for answering, Ruwan sir. Now, I just wanted to unmute yourself, Bina madam, then after Murari sir. I just wanted to Bina madam to ask the question, then after Murari sir. Okay, Bina madam, your turn, please.
Can you hear me, Reshma?
Yes, Bina madam.
This is a question for Yadavji. First of all, I would like to thank Reshma for organizing this wonderful program with national and international participants. Now I have 3 questions only. This is for Yadavji. Thank you very much for presenting the picture of library activity since its beginning to now, and also other activities and its problems for now, immediate problems for now. So I think we have not added here the future plan of the library advocacy. Can we add some advocacy? Is there any future plans for this library advocacy in Nepal? This is for Yadavji. And the second question is for Naresh Agarwalji. Thank you very much for your information on our present theme on our library advocacy. I would like to know here simply regarding the impact of COVID-19, which brought so much of changes in the library activities in the world. So would you tell me in precise what major changes brought by this COVID-19 in brief in the world of libraries, including? The third question is to Ruwan Gamage, the president of Sri Lanka Library Association. And here you have pointed out the expectations of planning policy makers and administrators regarding the promotion of this library advocacy. So would you tell me what we expect from the policy makers and administrators regarding the preservation of cultural heritage in Nepal? Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Yadab sir?
Yes,
Okay.
madam. So thank you, madam, for your question. Related to the future plan for the library advocacy in Nepal, what we are doing, perhaps madam also aware about that. We are doing 2-3 things, and I will also like to request 2 other senior colleagues like Murari sir, Bhola sir, and other, if there are anything to be added, or if I forget to add something. The very first thing what we are doing is we are planning to meeting some the senior citizens, even in the parliamentarians and the former politicians who are still in the active practices. We are meeting them and we are advocating about the need of the Public Library Act, Label Dictionary Act, and the way we have to rebuild the Nepal National Library. These things we are also doing, and the government of Nepal is implementing the digitization of the 3 libraries resources, more important resources, especially Nepal National Library, Kaisar Library, and the Delhi Raman Kalyani Memorial Library. And we are also making the consortium for the university libraries. Also, one meeting we have already done with Ruwan University Central Library, Department of Library and Information Science, Nepal Open University, Kathmandu University, and some other library-related stakeholders too, that will lead to us the establishment of the Nepal National Digital Library. You may know that we have not established yet the National Digital Library repository in the one single place, and we will be going this in very soon. The government of in this budget also. In the budget speech also, the government has made its commitment also in this regard, and others like the other related activities. What we can do is the user survey, and we have to do again the library and the public and community library seminars on the federal level and the state level too, because that will give us one way. You have already participated and presented the papers in the previous seminars, also conferences also, and so we are making liable to the local levels also. Many local authorities and local levels are establishing their public and community libraries and asking for us for the technical help, especially for the automating and the digitizing the resources and in the technical fields. Yes, madam. And if I have left any to address your questions, Murari sir, Bhola sir, and other respective seniors, I would like to add some other words. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, Yadavji.
Thank you, Bina madam. Now, next question, Ruwan sir will answer. Ruwan sir.
Yes, yes, Bina madam's question. Of course, first of all, I would like to congratulate you on the new National Library project. I have seen a very impressive video on your website, National Library website, for renovation and new project. Actually, I just think that all the when you talk about the policymakers throughout the South Asia region, it is more or less equal. So one experience that we had in Sri Lanka when there was a renovation project with a very impressive project in Sri Lanka, with the government's actually the political party who was governing at that time, they introduced they wanted to renovate the National Library, and then a lot of money was allocated, but that government had to quit after some time, and then the whole project had to be stopped because there was not enough allocation after that. Actually, the allocation was there, but unable to spend that money. So that because of that, project had to be stopped, and at some point, and there are so many critics who are criticizing this the action of being unable to complete what was expected to complete. So that is one thing. And when in regard to the influencing the policymakers toward supporting these initiatives, I have seen the strength of the IT, the strength of IT library, especially the library automation, digital libraries, in bringing their attention, because that is something that the policymakers are always promoting. So the National Library had the project to have 25 model libraries, one for each district in Sri Lanka, administrative district. Public libraries, they selected public libraries. Actually, I did the baseline survey for that. So I realized I ranked the libraries, and then from each district, the highest ranking libraries had been selected, and various other ways also have been implemented to that select the libraries. But there is one way of selecting the libraries. So it was a project supported by the ICT agency of Sri Lanka, called ICTA. That project, through the project, all these 25 libraries were automated using Koha software, and some of the content were digitized, and the devices were provided for the library users, like tablets, commonly available tablets at the library. Those can be borrowed by the library users. So such services were implemented, and that had, of course, attracted the attention of the policymakers. So that is one way I have experienced in attracting. And also that is when you implement technology in a library, it is not just implementing a technology in the library, but you support even because when some of libraries have been automated in those rural areas, it could be the only place where the general public can see automation happening. Apart from the health institutions, they are also not that developed. So that could be the only place where the general public can see automation happening and automation taking place, and something very close to them. So sometimes even schools arranged study visits to the library just to show this automation taking place and the happening of this inside the library. So that libraries have become the central in these developments. So that is one of my experiences that I can share with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ruwan sir. Thank you, Bina madam, for your question. Now I'd like to request Murari sir for your question. Then after we have some queries which can be answered by our Dr. Nisa Singh. She is IFLA Standing Committee member, Metropolitan Library Section at IFLA. Then after she is librarian at Public Library in TS Central State in Library in Chandigarh. She is also the former librarian at Sri Guru Gobind Singh College sector, and she is a former library professional at British Council Library, Chandigarh. We have some queries. No, I would like to request Nisa for your answer. After our Murari sir will give the question, then it goes to you, Nisa. Now, Murari sir, I would like to call for your question.
Okay. Is it listening?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. I love to listen all 5 presentators' presentations. It's well written, well elaborated, well explained. Very, very good. Thank you very much. I don't have questions, but can I have a small observation on these presentations? It's not my question. what I heard about many things, but one is I want to take 3 points and give my little observation. Okay, Naresh Agarwal, Mr. Naresh Agarwal told about community engagement, community space, something like that. That was very much touching points for me. Syeda, she advocated. She told that advocacy tools we could be our activities and social medias could be the activities advocacy good tools. She told it does me as well. And Dr. Ruwan, you told that yes, policymakers or administrators ask for returns of the investment. Library cannot return directly the investment. That's right. 3 points. In these 3 points, I like to make some observations explaining how we are working in these 3 points in Nepal. Read Nepal, as Reshma already mentioned, Read Nepal, Bhola is the chairperson, and Gita and myself are the members on that, Read Nepal in board. Read Nepal libraries almost occupy all these 3 points. I want to explain that. Read Nepal libraries or Read Nepal supported libraries says community transformation. Transformation means it is not only the just giving information, books and documents or any information, but it's a community should be transferred. This philosophy we follow. For example, we support to the youth people as well, not only for the books and the materials, but sports activities, in sports activities as well. We support teenage girls for their you say for their upliftment. In community, in our Nepali community, rural community, girls are not very much exposed to sport and do sports or anything. But Read Nepal libraries are promoting them and making them as a national leader. That sort of activities we do. We support women activities. For women, we have many activities. They can start their savings credit schemes. They can learn small business things. We teach all those things, and they prepare many day-to-day life of things as well. For example, ladies' shoe. It is used for male and female. It's a good shoe, and it's used in ceremonial things, in marriage ceremony and other pujas. Those sort of unique things they prepare and they sell it. These sort of things we do so that it's a community engagement. It's a advocacy as well. It's a return to the community. These sort of things we do. Practical answers we do for the community people. For example, one farmer comes to the library, in our community library, and asks, his buffalo is not providing meals for some days because of these symptoms. The library responds on that. This sort of practical answers, many answers, thousands of answers, library give the answers to these queries. Then library also started working in disaster during 2015 earthquake, big earthquake of Nepal. During that also library started immediately supporting to the community, and as well as in COVID-19. Any situation occurs in the community, library is always in the front line and they support to the community. Like this, we do community engagement, we do advocacy, and we make them feel that return of investment is made in library. Very few comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Murad sir. He's our one of the most advocating for our libraries and librarians. He has many experience, as Murad sir has already informed how Read Nepal is working, and he is a founder of Nepal Library Association also. And our most of the motivating and inspiration we got from the Murari sir is always with us in at each and every step. If it is a small or big program, he's always there for guiding us. Thank you so much, Murari sir, for your kind observation and enlightening our this library advocacy in Nepal you have added. It is like lots of it means a lot for us. And I would like to request Dr. Nija, like some questions we have been pending. Like Leela ma'am has a question about the international scenario of uses of libraries. And Nija, we all are together, India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, we all are the South Asians. So this is an open platform for all of you. We can discuss, we can have some queries which cannot be answered. We can like our Murad sir, he has enlightened many things. No? We can do, we have some time for ending up. Then Nija, for you, platform is for you.
Thank you so much, Reshma. Can you hear me?
We can hear, but the sound is like volume. I think you have to increase the volume. No, not yet there. No. We cannot hear. Once on mute and mute once.
Can you hear me?
Yes, but it is slow. It's like volume is too. You need to increase the volume. It's working, Nija? We can hear, but it's like volume is low. Once speak once. Nija, hi. Okay, just carry on. I just wanted to request our Chandra Yadab sir for some question he have, so we can go for the question. Then again, Nija, just carry on. Yeah, yes, of course. Now we can. Yes. Now, after Nija, Bhusan brother, it's your turn. Okay.
Sure, sir.
Okay, carry on, Nija.
Okay, so thank you so much, Reshma, and congratulations for this wonderful meeting of professionals. I would like to pay my respect to Bhola sir initially. So because he's been a great library professional, and all other speakers, including Naresh sir, Dr. Ruwan, and Gita ma'am. Leela had put forth this question regarding the usage of libraries, because generally we see in our part of the world that there are not many users, but whereas in the West and other parts of the world, since I have really traveled to all these countries, so I know that
libraries, people flock to these libraries because what libraries provide is a safe space and a second or third space to them. It's just not about books or knowledge resources or the formal procedures that we do in the library. So like first place is your home, or maybe second place is your office space, but the third space where you can call it your own space, you can feel comfortable, and the libraries provide everything. So that sort of space has been created over there. And the rules and regulations, we've been really strict with our university regarding regulations, but those people, they give a leverage. Like most of the libraries don't like to charge fine. A few libraries I've seen has this thing called earn your fine. They ask to come to the library and do some voluntary work, and they earn that money. So it's really attractive for the children members, especially when they want to go to the library and do some kind of shelving or something for particular hours. Like if you have a fine or maybe $1, you're supposed to work for 15 minutes doing shelving or other work. And other facilities like maker spaces they've created. If you want to start your own startup, or you want to do some cooking, they have their own community kitchens in the library. And if you have any visa queries or tax submission, that's available in the library. If you want any free passes for any tourist destinations, they are available in the library. And if you want to be a budding singer, the recording facility and the studio is available in many of the libraries in the US. If you want to borrow tools, instruments, toys, all such facilities are available in the library. I mean, you ask for and it's available in the library. So they've given that kind of a platform, that kind of an environment for people, that kind of facilities. So libraries are full of readers over there, not just children, adults, seniors, students, housewives, professionals, everybody. They have facilities for everybody, and they are very lenient with their rules. You will not imagine they issue 40, 50, 80 books at one point of time. Like we kind of issue 2 books and we even ask for fine if they've not returned in a matter of 2 days, but they are so open and people just love to go to the library. So we should provide such kind of an atmosphere here in our library so that people are welcome. They feel that the library is their own space. So that's all I want to comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nizas. She's very kind and she's a good friend of mine. And Naresh is back.
Yeah, I'm back.
Naresh, your questions are pending. So,
okay, so yeah, please ask. Sorry about that. I had to step out for a little while. So yeah, please tell me the questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Leela ma'am has asked about how Nepal's. Okay, Leela ma'am, could you please once join again? You can ask.
Welcome back, Naresa, and
thank you.
Thank you first of all for your nice presentation, though the internet was disturbing to us.
Yes, yeah.
During your presentations. I was just asking, you have said the Boston and New York public libraries and all those things. Here in our country, all my librarian friends, they were regularly reporting the absence or the few numbers of users using the physical space of the library and using the physical collections of the libraries nowadays. As you also mentioned that the digital resources are more and more being used. So what is the case in developed countries? There is of course more users in digital space rather than physical space, but still, as currently Dr. Nisa Singh has also mentioned that how very lively the public libraries are there. And how is it? I mean, it gave me a feelings of, astonishing feelings, how really it works in that kind of situation. And how we can yeah.
Thank you, Leela. I think what you said is something very interesting. So, and this is not just the problem with libraries, it's also the problem with offices, because many technology companies and other people are actually allowing people to work from home. So then they're thinking that why do I need to go to the office? So, and in COVID time and also post-COVID, a lot of the office rentals and other prices fell down for commercial spaces. So then the question is, why should we create spaces where people actually come in physically when they can get everything at home, right? This is because we are social animals, and even though we can get a lot of convenience for things online, you need other people to have a physical surrounding. So the thing to imagine with libraries now is that it has to be, you have to provide some more things. So for instance, some libraries have a coffee shop as well. Some have physical like yoga classes or some other things that you have, right? So you have to be more innovative in terms of providing, like for instance, there's a reading room. If it's academic libraries, right? Libraries serve as reading rooms where students can come and have quiet spaces to contemplate. You could also have maker spaces where you have a 3D printer, where you have like a sewing machine, where you have some painting boards, and so people can come and then gather in terms of a surrounding, either to have like a painting groups or weight loss groups and all that. So it has to be a collaborative space, and you can have different kinds of spaces within the library. You can have a technology-free zone, for instance, where then people can unplug completely from technology and just be there with the books and a space, like say for writers who just want to think. So it will be different from what it was earlier, but it will be very important. So and some parameters of what a traditional library does will change a little bit. So I saw in some places that the number of physical collections and materials that are there, those have gone down in many libraries, and the number of digital materials have increased. So that balance might change with time, but then they will not become less important. So it will require us to be innovative and also serve. I think what you have to do is that for every library, you have to survey your patrons and ask them that what can we do with this space, which will be of benefit to you. And then with that, right, you'll have to be innovative, and that will not be fixed for one library, because each locality, each library will have different needs. And there's this concept called co-creation, whereby where the library is not providing value for the patron, but then you're working with the patron to create a value together. So that is where and the needs might be very different, because in COVID times, some libraries even served as vaccination centers, and some libraries served as places to provide, like a lot of people don't have technology or good computers, right? Then for people who don't have access to technology, it serves as spaces where people can come and then apply for jobs or university admissions and so on. So there are different things which might be there, but you have to work with your community to see that what is the best use of that space, the library space, in which it will be the most benefit to the group of users that use the library. Does that help answer, Leelaji?
Of course.
Yeah, collaborative spaces, they're working with communities, right? And it's not going to be less important. It's going to be even more important, because more and more people are getting isolated, and they need the physical interaction. And people will start realizing that. They're already realizing now the need for that.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you so much, Naresa. That was the answer. Like one of our Chandra Bhushan sir, he also put the same question, and with your answer that already answered the question. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And if there is further any question, we can now take only 2 questions. Then I think we can leave then after. Any question from our participants? Naresh sir is here, Ruwan sir is here, and
ma'am, Reshma ji.
Yes, Bhushan.
One question from my side to Gita ma'am, and she is very senior, and she is our Guru Ama also. So thank you, Gita ma'am, and thanks to all the participants and all the presenter. Really very nice presentation and very nice eye-opening presentation to us. Gita ma'am was sharing about the ethics of the librarians. So Gita ma'am, how you understand, how do you think, so how it is important to librarian to share the information to his ethics? So how can you determine the librarians are using their ethics to deliver the information? And how librarians can give the information to the right people? Any clues, any idea yourself? Just is not a question, just ethics questions. How can you determine the ethics they are using and they are here and they are sending the information to their users. So is there any opinion and any? It's a very hard question.
For your nice question. So the ethics and moral is very difficult. It is born with our knowledge only, the capability of given by God. Someone is very polite and attitude is very nice. Someone is information you are giving, providing right information, even though they are not satisfied with us and they are very angry and start to quarreling with us. If we say that reference paper books are not allowed to take you, then they want to struggle with us. In my experience is that. So the ethics and moral is very difficult. We have to develop the ethics and morals. Though we have developed by NLA or government, anybody, we develop the ethics of course of ethics for the libraries, librarianship, still it is very difficult to apply to the users. So we librarian himself should be very polite and behave them very softly, and so we don't have any temper with them, so they will also be motivated to us. I also showed in the quotation also, if you give them the right information, they will also give us the right attitude. That is my attitude. Is it satisfied with you answer?
Yeah, this is true. Yeah, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
No, and Gita-ji and Chandra-ji, I just had something to add. So basically, when you talk about ethics, right, it's a very difficult question because ethics means doing the right thing, right? And so, but to say the right thing, right, the definition of right thing, you have to define as what is right and what is wrong. Sometimes we have some universally accepted things of right things, right? Do no harm or those kind of things, or help people. But at the same time, different people have different ideas about what is right. So, and what I've noticed is that no person thinks that they have done the wrong thing. So we all from the subcontinent are familiar with the story of the Ramayana, right? That so Ravan took Sita, right, and who was Ram's wife, right? But as per Ravan, he thought that he was doing the right thing because Ram's brother chopped off the nose of his sister, and then that she was a princess and who did not deserve to marry a person who was wandering around in the jungle, and he was going to give her a life in a golden city. Okay, so that was his idea of according to him, he had justified it in his mind. So what I noticed is that no person, or even if you look at the Mahabharata, right, Duryodhana had the same thing. He thought that his father was supposed to be the rightful king, but because he was blind, so he did not. He did not get the kingdom. So that is why, because he is just getting back what is rightfully his, and it doesn't matter if Yudhishthira was born by the fate of luck a few months before him, right? So he justified it as well. So whatever you do, so then the question of what I've noticed is that no person does anything thinking that they're doing wrong. Even if they're doing the worst thing on the earth, they will justify it in their minds that they're doing the right thing. And that's what I found shocking, because I thought that when you talk to people who are doing horrible things, they will think that they're doing horrible things. They said, no, I'm the best person on the earth. I'm the savior of the world. I'm doing all the right things. Right. So this question of ethics is
true.
It's very hard. So
very hard. It's very hard. Yeah.
Thank you,
Naresh sir. Thank you very much for giving so.
Thank you, Naresh sir and Gita madam. Now we will go for one question only. Then we can open our camera. All of you we can open our camera. Then we can have a virtual photo. Photo group. Okay. And one question. Our Indira Doli ma'am, Janaki ma'am. We have many seniors, Naresh sir. I'm very much grateful that all our seniors are available here. There is a great support and guidance for us to motivating our youngsters. Like all seniors are here. See, Naresh sir, Ruwan sir, I'm very much happy by your face.
And I'm also very happy to do this talk for Nepal because I feel very close to Nepal, and being able to have an audience from Nepal is like really fulfilling for me.
And you are very good speaker of Nepali. Ekdam राम्रो बोल्नुहुन्छ Nepali.
Thank you. Okay,
our seniors are here, so I would like to request our seniors also give some observation, like our Murari sir, or you have any questions, concerns. All platform to you, my seniors. And we have also friends from our India, Bangladesh, Pakistan. This is our
No,
we have
and Sri
gone with
Lanka,
the
Sri Lanka and Maldives both
Sri
in one
Lanka,
person.
Maldives. Oh, yeah. This forum we have done of the ASST team, so we have not included all. In the future, if we got chance, obviously we'll include all. Isn't it Bhutan, Maldives, all? Okay.
Yeah.
If any questions there is, or anything you want to say, my seniors, librarians, my professionals, मेरो गुरुआमा गुरुबुवा के भन्न चाहनुहुन्छ भने please. Then we can go for our group photograph.
Reshma, I would like to request you
Yes,
to report at the proceedings of all participants' papers, because these are very useful to the Nepalese librarian and also the general people. So I request you, as other library does in India and other places, please you publish it as a proceedings report. One thing I would like to request, next thing you have to introduce me also.
Oh, Bina Madam, she is our senior librarian. She is working in the central. She worked in the TUCL unit, Tribhuvan University Central Library, and she, Gita Madam and Bina Madam, recently they have been awarded from our government of Nepal, and they are together. They are working for the sales list subject heading in Nepali. They are publishing. And they have Bina Madam has a great experience, more than 40 years, and they are the most seniors and a respectful person in the library, and they have worked for the library advocating in the Nepal for many years. Yes, Bina Madam. Sorry, I didn't mention all these things. Sorry so much.
No. Okay. Thank you, Reshma.
Thank you. I will make the report, and with our ASST team, we will be doing, madam.
Reshma.
Yes, madam. Yes, Dolly ma'am. Yes, and Indira Dolly ma'am, she was one of the keynote speaker when we have organized ASST program. Yes, Dolly ma'am.
I want to thank to organize such wonderful programs, which is very necessary in the context of Nepal, where libraries are not promoted, developed till today, coming to 21st century. So such type of events, I think, should be regularly organized by any organization, including SARC and other organizations also. I want to thank all 7 very eminent, very intellectual paper presenters, and I especially impressed by the physical meeting is very important. Naresh is very impressive to me. Similarly, the advocacy tools, advocacy outputs, they are also very impressive to me. And the Gita madam's ethics, it is very difficult. We can't please 100% while giving the service. So we should try our best only. We can't please 100%. This is my philosophy. This is my experience. So
right, ma'am.
I thank all questioners and answers, and especially thank you the 2 organizers. And the such type of events should be regularly organized so that we should be updated. We can be updated, and we can also advocate to our concerns, stakeholder, government, policymaker, planners. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dolly ma'am. And she is the advocate for the children literature, children library. She has a very good library in the Sanipa in our Kathmandu. And thank you so much, Dolly ma'am. And our Zanika madam, you want to say something? Please unmute yourself. Yes.
Again, namaste to all. Nothing to say.
Zanika ma'am,
I like to say Very, very thank you, Resma, and all teams. This is very, very useful and informative session. So I also agree with Dali ma'am. And one thing I like to say about ethics, if we librarian, first of all, if we librarian strictly follow rule and regulation of library, then we can implement it to other also. We make strictly our library rule and regulation for how can we use the library, how can we upgrade our staff, then I think this is useful for library and others. Then again, I would like to thank all resource person and participant. Okay, I will say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Zanika madam. Zanika madam has worked more than 40 years and she was a chief librarian of Kesar Library, Government of Nepal. Okay, now we can have a group photograph, then we can end our this session. Kindly open your video, please, for your beautiful faces. We can see your handsome and beautiful faces.
सबैजना खिड्की खोलौँ
We can have a group photo screenshots.
आउँछ
पक्नु ल
एकछिन हुँदैछ अहिले ओपन भइरहेछ ब्युटीफुल फेसेस
ओके पक्नु ल Okay, thank you so much. Mainly, I want to thank from my core of the heart for all the speakers and our Yadab Chandra Niraula sir for giving this platform and hosting from Ministry of Education, Science and Technology. It means a lot. Thank you so much for all our seniors, our keynote speakers, our participants for your valuable time from different countries. And this is the very unique and very needed one event we have done from ASIS&T. Thank you so much for ASIS&T team and our Ministry of Education, Government of Nepal, and all the seniors and all the participants. Have a blessed day. Good evening, good afternoon, and all have a blessed day and nice time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, all the participants.
Okay, bye-bye. Have a good day.
Bye.
Have a nice day.